disgust until I understood what was going on. He was, by the way, trained by what William mentioned. Was it the Academy of Medical Psychiatrists, Medical Hypnotists? Yes. And we have one in Chicago presently, a physician like that, Dr. John Knapp. He comes to our Sunday meetings often and does some great training. So if you've been there, you know who he is. If you haven't been there and you're in Chicago, come and visit us. And Rick, we were just speaking about that. When you're in Chicago, even if you're not close by, just come by sometime and you'll see some great things we have there. So working with this physician for 6 years, I began to learn techniques of hypnosis I never knew. Here's a great one for you to know about electronic hypnosis. What if you're doing a regression with somebody and you're having them recall different events as they go through their life, and you're recording this regression as they're listening to you on headphones and you're speaking to them through a microphone. Next week they come back and see you, you hypnotize them again, and while they're hypnotized, you now seamlessly move into the recording from the previous week of them telling you what they were experiencing during the regression. What do you think that feels like? That feels like an acid trip that you're talking to yourself. You like that one? It feels like I've been through it. That's why I know it. I seldom do anything that I haven't attempted myself. Not acid, but I meant hypnosis. And you're laying there and you're relaxed and you're in this real deep state of hypnosis, and all of a sudden you hear yourself talking. Whoa! I'm standing there in front of me talking to myself. It's just a little touch of electronic hypnosis. I don't have enough time for it. I think my time probably is running short. Allow me to go through a couple of other thoughts, a couple of other ideas. I've got many here, I think. I've got tons and tons of ideas. So I tell you about some of the experiences I've had with hypnosis because I want to lead you into inspiration as was given to me. My mother told me, you know, if this is what you want to do, this is what you're going to do. I left my profession in 1971. Of course, I had to do little side jobs along the way because I didn't make as much money doing hypnosis, but I trusted. I trusted it would be okay. Today, as William might share with you, I have many stories, and one that he was sharing out in the lobby is how you could have a professional office at no or low overhead. And you say, well, how do you do that? That's what I do. I have an office that's about 4,000 square feet. We have about 40 different people who will rent space from me by the hour. So if they come in for 1 hour, I mean, do you have a professional office that you could rent for $20? Probably not. If you work out of your home, good for you, because that's the most economical way. If you have even the smallest office in a city like Chicago, it's going to cost you $1,000 a month, if not more. We have a large space that's accountable for massage, Reiki, Rolfing, hypnosis, of course, acupuncture. We have a large room, about a third the size of this room, for classes, and that facility pays for itself. I also have a manual on that, if you'd like, how to have an office for no or a low overhead. My position of this morning, is to share with you how to be more successful than you might be. You could brag to me, and I do look at some of these messages that go back and forth about how great some of you are, as you tell everybody. But the real issue is, it's not about how great you think you are, it's about how successful you are. I think of a great hypnotist sitting right here videotaping me, Anita Barton. Anita works in our office and she's a great marketer. She graciously helps me market. She designs all these covers that you see. Some of them are really exciting covers, and I do the writing and she designs that. She prints all of our CDs for us. But she's also a great hypnotist. Here's why. When you see a client, that client becomes your future, that one client. And if you're present with that client and nobody else in the whole world exists for that time you're with that client and the time you spend with that client, you'll never lack a full day. That's my philosophy of being with a person. Then I think about the hypnotist who sees a client once or twice, or 2 or 3 times, maybe only once. I think anybody could do that. I think you could have some ads. It says, come and be hypnotized and lose 45 pounds with whoever you are. And the person comes in, and whether they did well or not, do they come back? I share stories that I know of Anita. I remember when Anita was first starting about 6, 7 years ago with hypnosis, she'd say, well, what do I say and what do I do? One of the nice things we have about other people being in our office is we have the ability to share war stories. How can I do this? Will this work? Have you ever done this before? Don't you wish sometime you had somebody by your side, yeah, Randy, saying, yeah, that you could ask, that you could say to them, have you ever worked with a person with one leg and they have itches in their toes? And how would you address that? Well, you could look it up in a book, or you could speak to somebody who's done it. So I used to say to Anita, never mind what you should say, listen to your client, they'll tell you what to say. And this afternoon I have a presentation to do with case histories, and I have a powerful case history that I'll share with you that we worked with yesterday. But the real issue is I want to comment about this. Anita has one client, how many times? Over 50 times you've seen her? Over 50 times. Is there something wrong with that client? She can't get it right? Or is there something special that Anita might be doing that has them coming back? Do you ever tell her to come back?
No.
Never tell her, okay. So you don't tell this person to come back, but the client says, wait a minute, I'm evolving here. Do any of you go to the health club? How many of you go to health clubs? Do you go once? Twice? How about do you go 4 times? So the idea that hypnosis to me is a health club for the mind. I share with you who I am, that I don't just hypnotize people, I live what I teach. You know, at this time I'm 76. I am free from any physical discomforts that I know of. I'll find some later because I'm saying that. But not really, because I trust that I won't. And I take no medications. I sleep good at night. Do you sleep good at night? If you don't sleep good at night, you have a challenge going on. You know, it reminds me of needing to get drunk or high, and I've done both, is that we don't want to think about what's going on right now. So if we don't want to think about it, then we could get drunk or high, and we don't have to think about it. Or we could begin to enjoy life so much that we say, hey, I'm in a high all the time anyway, and I love where I'm at this moment. So as I feel good with that moment, my client knows that. I could look at my client and say, oh yes, I could feel that. The magic of hypnosis is empathy. Some of you listen to podcasts? Good, good. Look up this one, Scott, and everybody else. It's called A Rumor of Empathy by Lou Gustafson. He does a 12-section program on empathy. And empathy becomes the magic of hypnosis, because as long as you are empathic, as long as you have this feeling for this person and you know what size shoe they wear and how it fits and where the tight spots are and how they walk, metaphorically speaking, then you're going to have a very successful practice. And the reason is because when a person lacks receiving empathy, they suffocate. The phrase that Lou uses on this podcast, he says, empathy is oxygen for the soul. Now hear that word well, or phrase well as a hypnotist, and think to yourself what I just said. That this client wants to receive from you an understanding, an empathic energy that says, I feel who you are. And they will always then be your client. About 20% of the clients that I see, 20%, that's just a guess, but it's good. About 20% have been coming to see me over 25 years. Again, that's not to brag to you. I'm not here to brag. I don't need to brag. My checking account is fine. It's about me sharing with you something I believe in. So why would 20% be coming so long? Because they can't get it right? Or is it because there's something valuable going on between the two of us in this transaction of life? I think the latter. And I think that as you start taking care of your consciousness, as you start settling into who are you, I offered you earlier, think of trust, experience trust. Now you hold trust inside of you, and you're with a client and you wear trust. Tell me what trust can do for you and that client. My time is up.
Larry, could you give us 5 minutes about Iraq?
Okay.
Just 5 minutes.
5 minutes about Iraq. Okay, this might get you back for later, because then I'll talk in detail. William's excitement is that I get bored once in a while. And I say, oh boy, I'm bored. You know, I've been seeing clients, I want something new. And every time I get bored, my phone will ring with something exciting. So one day in April 2001, my phone rings, and it's somebody asking me if I'd like to go to Iraq to hypnotize a businessman. Yeah, let's do it. I'm bored anyway. Well, you might say, why would you want to go to Iraq? We're talking pre-war. Excuse me. And I say like this, I'm a very naive person. Let me tell you how naive I am. I choose not to read the news. I choose not to watch the news, but I do hear it on NPR and stuff like that. But it's a little different. It's not so profound of, let me tell you about this. So I didn't know Iraq was a bad country to go to. And I remember the first thing I did, I didn't say, yeah, for sure, let's do it. I said, well, let's meet, let's talk about it. So this neurologist from Iraq came to visit me, and we spent about an hour or two together talking about this businessman patient of his in Baghdad who had difficulty walking because he had an accident and he was having difficulty putting pressure on his left leg. Can I help him? Well, if you were to call Larry Garrett and say, hey, Larry, could you hypnotize me? I'd say, of course I can. Of course I can. You refrain from ever telling somebody you can't do something. You're a hypnotist. It's like a magician. You're doing magic for the mind. So I go to Iraq in April, and I did well. And the businessman was Uday Hussein, the eldest son of Saddam Hussein. So then I'm called back again in August. I go back in August of 2001. And I went there, I was called in August. I went there on September 9th, 2001. And of course, 2 days later, we all know about 2001, September 11th, where you were, what you were doing. I was sitting there with Uday Hussein trapped in Baghdad. That's my story in 5 minutes. But I'll share more of it at 2 o'clock, I think. 2 o'clock, I'm going to do a presentation on some unique case histories that I've done. Some magical things that I think hypnosis can do. I think that hypnosis is for the mind what magic is to the eyes. The magician says, watch this trick. And as you look at that left hand, he or she pulls a string with the right hand. If you think about hypnotists are saying, relax your legs. And as you relax your legs, you'll feel less urges to smoke cigarettes, or whatever you might say. It's to distract the logic while you speak to the emotions. I think my time has run out.
We're really close. Any questions?
Yeah, how about this? Any comments or questions? Some of you I'll see at 2 o'clock, some of you won't. I am here. I'm present for you. Please, Lord.
Can you leave us with another profound statement?
Yeah, you say what?
Would you leave us with one more profound statement?
Yes, one more profound statement. I have many. One is I got a wonderful gift this morning. I got a wonderful gift. I woke up. And when I say that, I say it with great sincerity because Carm will hear it, Nita hear it, anybody who works in my office will hear it all the time. And say, I know you woke up. But every time I wake up, I think to myself, whoa, I've got another opportunity to make it better. And one more I say is this one. Easy to be confident when you have $1 in your pocket. Think of that metaphor. Think about that metaphor. These are just things that I kind of like make up along the way. If it's easy to be confident, what if you don't have $1 in your pocket? Can you still be confident? Yes, yes. So refrain from ever doubting yourself by wearing this energy of trust. It doesn't have to be trust about money. It doesn't have to be trust about anything. You just need to fool the subconscious mind into saying, I trust. I trust. It feels good. I thank you so very much. The questions? Do you have some questions? Thank you. I was here. First off, LarryGarrett.com. If you want any of these booklets, I have many of them. And I've written 3 books. Some of you may have heard Hypnotizing the Devil, Healing the Enemy. And so go to LarryGarrett.com, send me a note, tell me which ones you're looking for, and I'll send them off to you. And thank you. I'll see you at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. Hey, have a great day today. Please leave your feedback evaluations there at the door. We got a little envelope. And if you would, we still need some room monitors in the different rooms. If you'd like to volunteer to help get those, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and then pick up the feedback. We appreciate it. Have a great day today.